In this video, you'll learn about several very useful reports generated by your students' assessment performance data. Begin by finding your way to Swun Math Assessments and choosing your course. If you're not sure how to do this, you can download a handout or watch an earlier video that shows you how to log in as a teacher. These are available on swunmath.com. To do anything related to grading assessments or viewing reports, we will click on Grades in the black navigation bar on the left side of the screen. This opens up the Grader Report, which shows how students have performed on each assessment. The number listed next to the student name is the number of points they earned on the test. This report will fill in to the right as the school year goes on. At the bottom of the chart is the overall average number of questions answered correctly by the class. This list can be sorted by student first name, by student last name, by the total number of questions answered correctly ranging from highest or from lowest. This report can also be printed or saved as a PDF. Another very useful report is the user report. Choose it on the drop-down menu. Here you can choose a student user and view their performance on each Swun Math assessment. The report includes the number of points earned by the student, the range of possible points, and the percentage correct on each test. Be sure you have selected Myself to view reports. This refers to yourself as the classroom teacher. You may also choose to view a report for all users. In this case, you'll find that the data will be listed for all students in your class, and when you view this as a PDF, each student will be reported on their own page. So this may be a useful report for you as you get farther along into the school year. You can see each student has their own report page. Several other very useful reports are found under Assessment Reports. Here you'll see each assessment listed in the left column, and on the right there are a variety of reports that you can select for each of those assessments. Let's start with grading. This report tells you how many student responses remain to be graded by hand and how many are left to be graded. There are 0 questions remaining to be graded, and this number of items have already been hand scored. If you are going to hand grade test items or override auto-scored test results, you would start from this report. More information about this is available in handouts and videos about hand scoring and overriding auto-score. Next, let's take a look at the item analysis report. We'll choose that here. This report lists the standards addressed by each test question, the correct answer, along with the percentage of students who chose the correct answer, and each incorrect or partial answer that appears in the set of assessment data, along with the percentage of students who made each choice. So for question number 9, 100% of the students chose the correct answer, which was A and B. For question number 8, about 89% of the class chose B, which is the correct answer, and 11% of the students chose A. For number 3, there were different distractors here. It looks like one student chose each C, A, and D, while the correct answer was B. If a P appears in this column, it's to indicate that the result is pending because an item has not yet been hand scored. Now, open-ended or short answer responses will not have a letter to mark which answer is correct, but the report still does indicate the percentage of students who earned credit for that question or who did not earn credit for that question. This report can be run for a whole class, as is showing now, or it can be run per individual student. The report can also be saved and printed as a PDF, or it can be downloaded as a CSV, XLS, or a variety of other ways so that you can import it into wherever you need to take it to make use of the data. Next, let's look at the overview report. We'll choose that here. Now this colorful chart shows whether students answered questions correctly or incorrectly in a matrix format using red X's and green check marks. It also lists the state of each student's assessment. The first 9 students in this list show their assessment is finished, but number 10 shows the assessment is still in progress. The report also lists when the assessment was started, when it was completed, and the time the student took to complete the test. And the next column is the number of points earned by each student, and then the matrix of check marks and X's make up the rest of the table to the right. The orange check marks over here indicate that a student received partial credit for their answer. From this page, you can view any student's response to any question. If you want to see what this student did to earn a wrong response or for this question, you can go and check and see what they did. If you want to see what this student's response was to an open-ended question, you can open up the window and see what their response was. It's also from this page that you can override an auto-scored test item. Find the handout and a video about overriding auto-scored items for more information. Now these reports can be saved or printed as a PDF, and the data can be downloaded in CSV, XLS, or other formats. Now the bar chart beneath the matrix shows the number of students in particular performance ranges. We can see that the majority of students earned more than 11 points on this test, and one student scored between 17 and 18 points, and one student scored between 2 and 3. The data below here is simply the data that informed the bar chart above it. Next, let's look at the assessment status report. This is a fairly straightforward report that lists the status of each student's assessment. This one is still in progress. When the assessment was started, when it was completed, and the amount of time taken to complete the test. It also lists the number of correct answers out of a total of 18. Next, let's look at the response report. The response report is a lot like the overview report, but it lists the student's response next to the correct answer in the report for each student. Now this looks funny. The correct answer is marked wrong. This is because we changed it in an earlier video in which we demonstrated how to override an auto-scored answer. Before we did that, the answer showed as correct. Again, this report can be printed or saved as a PDF, and the data can be downloaded in CSV, XLS, and other formats. Finally, let's take a quick look at the statistics report. This report shows some data that may be interesting to the classroom teacher, including mean and median grades, standard deviations, error ratios, and the farther we move into this report, the more it makes sense to our statistician friends. The report may not be as useful in our day-to-day work with students as the reports we've reviewed earlier. In this video, we've learned about several very useful reports generated by your students' assessment performance data that are available as part of Swun Math assessments.